And we are live. How's it going, Mets fans? It's your boy Wardy, and we're back at it with our latest edition of Mets Postgame here as they win tonight by a final score of 3-1. This comes after a day removed from a rainout yesterday when they were supposed to play the Astros. Now they pick up their game today with Jose Quintana on the bump, and there's a lot of good takeaways to get into, but it is headlined undoubtedly by, in my opinion, what is going to be one of the best catchers in all Major League Baseball this year, Francisco El Tro Alvarez, doing it all. So much to say on him between the nuke, not throwing out guys not once, not twice, but thrice, 3 times. How you doing? I don't care that it's spring training. Those throws were absolutely masterful. He did a fantastic job. And with Adam Ottavino on the mound for 2 of those 3 too. A lot of key takeaways, not only on Jose Quintana's performance today, the bullpen headlined by Shintaro Fujinami with a 10-pitch perfect inning where he didn't even throw his fastball. And then we got some offense too. Not a lot, but enough. And again, Alvarez was the one that did all the heavy lifting today and then some. So that is what we'll be breaking down in today's post game. To everyone first chiming in live on our replay, happy to have you all in here. Make sure to smash that like and subscribe button for your boy. It is greatly appreciated. Again, happy to have all you beauties in here. Greatly appreciated. Dave, great member as always. Alan, Ricky, Mass, how you doing? James, JJ, Mr. Nobody, D-Ron, Frank, Sanders, how you doing? Hope everyone is having a fantastic evening. I do have to let you all know, though, and we'll get this rolling here in a minute, a big announcement that I announced earlier today on the channel that I'm very excited to share further with you all. And again, for everyone watching a replay too, I hope you guys enjoy this. It is with great excitement and pleasure that I announce that, yes, I will be in attendance of spring training beginning this Saturday, everybody. I am beyond pumped up, and I cannot thank my amazing sponsor here on the channel enough for making this happen. Our great friends at BetUS, myself, Robbie Hyde, Jim from Ballcap Sports. You can also catch us with Draftneck Mark and Mike from Stark Raven Sports. All your favorite MLB content creators were getting together at the BetUS house. This absolutely beautiful place we're going to be staying in Port St. Lucie from March 9th to the 13th. And we're going to come at you guys with awesome content. We're going to be doing live streams together multiple nights while we're there, going over MLB predictions and futures, pairing that along with, of course, BetUS and their odds. We're going to be attending some Mets Port St. Lucie games. We're going to be interviewing you, the fans. So if you guys will be in attendance to any Mets games at PSL during that time, let me know so that way I can hopefully meet some of you guys. We may also do a live show in the parking lot there. That's to be determined. And we also are going to hopefully have some awesome guests, maybe even some current players show up to the house. So a lot of fun is going to happen. We're going to be really unique with our content, all things MLB related. Of course, you guys are still going to get your typical Mets content while I'm there too. Just a lot of fun, and I cannot thank BetUS enough for making that happen. So seriously, shout out to them. Shout out to the BetUS house. We'll get it to the ad read a little bit later in the show here because I just cannot say enough great things about how they've treated me and fellow creators, and to give us this opportunity to not only all meet up at spring training, but to be able to make content and provide it for you guys. I mean, I really can't ask for much more. So shout out to them once more. And again, make sure you guys stay tuned. We're going to be having a bunch of short content both on YouTube and on Twitter unrolling starting March 9th to the 13th. We're going to be coming out with a bunch of unique videos on myself and the fellow creators, especially Mets related. Draftneck Mark and Mike, we're going to have some fun with some Mets topics too. So be on the lookout. A lot of content coming real soon, and that's what I want to relay to you all that did not know the news already. So again, appreciate it, guys. And now let's talk a bit about this game. Dave, thank you so much for donation. Mets need a DH. Vientos not the answer. 3Ks. While I agree that Vientos is still a guy where we don't know where we're going to get per se, I'm not going to buy stock into one measly spring training game as the end-all be-all. Did he look good today? No. Vientos looked horrendous at the plate today. But do I think that we should say, okay, we need to sign JD Martinez because that's sole reason? No, I don't feel that way whatsoever. Do I think the Mets should still get JD Martinez? Yes, I do. I felt that way all season long. That doesn't change. But Vientos, we'll get into his struggles today because for those that don't know, the Mets lineup, how it began today, was headlined by Brandon Nimmo in the leadoff spot, Francisco Lindor, Starling Marte, Pete Alonso, Brett Beatty, who had 1 hit today because of a bunt single. Yes, you heard that correctly. Francisco Alvarez, Mark Vientos. Joey Wendell made his first spring start. Happy to get out there after dealing with an ailment to slow down his beginning of spring. Harrison Bader there, and that does it. So, again, not a lot of offense from the Mets today. They had 5 to the Nationals 7. They did have some bad luck, though, because expected batting average was 256. So, again, they definitely should have had some better results than what they had. It's spring training. It only means so much. The pitchers that the Mets ruled out today, of course, Jose Quintana, Adam Ottavino, Ottavino, Jake Diekman, Jorge Lopez, Shintaro Fujinami, Josh Walker, and Grant Hartwig. But before I even bother to get into the numbers on the pitching, let's talk about, again, the key takeaways, what transpired in this ball game. Why is it headlined by Francisco Alvarez? But again, it's what I told you already. What a tremendous game for the young man, and I will continue to preach to the choir, extend Francisco Alvarez. Yet for the people that say, oh, he hasn't proven himself enough yet, that's the exact point. He is a generational catching prospect. You should not even consider any other idea than to potentially ink him up long-term, because it will be on a team-friendly contract, one, and two, it's mutually beneficial for both sides then. He already has expressed his interest this past offseason in being extended by the Mets. You have a homegrown talent, elite homegrown talent, just waiting there for you to potentially extend, so hopefully at some point this year we do see that happen, if it's not going to be obviously prior to the season beginning. Francisco Alvarez, though, can we just take a minute to appreciate his greatness? My goodness, my God, my gracious. I mean, first we saw there, obviously, it begins in the first inning. We see there Lane Thomas would get a single on the first pitch you would see from Jose Quintana. Jose Quintana had a solid outing today. We'll get into him and his arsenal a little bit here shortly. But he's thrown out shortly after by Francisco Alvarez with a perfect dime there to get the out to Francisco Lindor to get Thomas at second base. That'd be one of 3 dimes he would throw today. In the bottom of the first, Brandon Nimmo would lead off with a leadoff single. Marte with a double play would ultimately end the inning. Then in the second, Vargas with a single, Keebum with a hit by pitch, and Young with an RBI single driving the first run for the Nationals. That would be the only run that Quintana would give up, and it would be a unearned run because of defensive hiccups by the Mets. Then as we advance to the fourth inning, Ottavino comes in after a scoreless outing there by Jose Quintana, allowed 1 run but not earned, 6 strikeouts, 0 walks on just over 50 pitches. His spring ERA currently stands right around 3.86 for those that care about those things. Quintana, though, again, a nice solid mix-up of his pitches today. Like what I saw, was definitely more effective and not nearly as rusty as what we saw last time. Yes, he gave up 4 hits. Some of it was soft contact. Some of it was hard. And overall, I was happy with what I saw from Jose Quintana today, who we will hopefully have at a full length this season and not have to worry until the second half of 2024 to actually have him in this rotation, God willing, knocking on wood, obviously. So we talked there about Adam Ottavino coming in the fourth inning. Ottavino had a clean inning, but it's Francisco Alvarez, which really helped with the work. A couple runners get on base. Both times they're out at second. Why? Francisco Alvarez doing what he does best with that absolutely electric arm drilling out those runners on second. Cannot say enough amazing things about Alvarez and how he's looked so far this spring, but it's that defense. And what's a big thing about that defense? He made note this offseason, he worked heavily heading into spring training on having a better pop-up time and an easier adjustment to throw to second base. We're seeing it right before our very eyes, something that we're going to see a lot throughout not only this regular season, but for a lot of years to come, where Francisco Alvarez drilling out guys without a prom, like literally doesn't mean nothing because it's another day at the office for El Troll. Dave, thank you so much again for the donation. I appreciate that greatly. Mike says, what happened to the Rangers podcast? What happened to the Rangers podcast, unfortunately, Mike, is it had to end because I have not been able to fully commit to watch them as much as I would like this year on a consistent basis, and I work full-time here on WardyNYM. As I do, I work separately with Bleacher Report and others. The time, unfortunately, just is not on my side currently to be able to be invested, one, and two, be able to confidently know what I'm talking about. I hate talking about my favorite teams if I can't be genuine. Last thing I want is to be this talking head that needs a script before he goes on to talk about games that he wasn't able to watch fully of in their entirety. So those were the reasons, unfortunately, why Rangers Review had to come to an end. It might kick back up at some point, but especially with a kiddo I got coming the way this summer, highly doubt it. You know, time is going to be less and less on my side. So trying to make the most of what I currently got going and obviously what the future is going to hold, which is exciting to say the least. Christopher, thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that. Really, really do. And again, appreciate everyone watching live and on replay. Make sure to smash that like and subscribe button for your boy as we're bringing down the latest in Mets land as they take this game by a final score of 3-1. But Ottavino, again, would have himself a scoreless fourth there. In the bottom of the fourth, Nimmo would have his second hit of the day. He was the only Mets hitter to record multiple hits. Then in the bottom of the fifth, again, Francisco Alvarez opens the floodgates. 2-run bomb to give the Mets the lead. Lindor would drive in Jose Iglesias later on this game, as Iglesias, funny enough, would get a double off of, yes, Robert Gsellman. Remember the name? Remember the man? Those luscious locks? Him and his roommate Noah Syndergaard back in the day. That was certainly a vibe with the Mets. Not so much now. Gsellman went overseas for a little bit, came back over, signed with the Nationals on a minor league deal, if I'm not mistaken, and, you know, he gave up that hard triple to Jose Iglesias. Other than that, he was okay. Jacob Barnes is also in the Nationals bullpen, so if you want some more PTSD, there you go, fellow Mets fans. You don't love to see that. Regardless, though, very happy with what we saw today from some of these outings, especially on the pitching front. Like Alvarez, I will juice him up every single day of the week. I cannot say enough great things about the outing that he had today. That was tremendous. But as we take a look at the pitching stats today, guys, let's talk about Shintaro Fujinami. Okay, I was rolling in some of the highlights too in case you guys weren't watching, but Jose Quintana kicked off the day with the 3 scoreless. Love that. Again, Adam Ottavino with the sweeper. Love that. Jake Diekman with the scoreless outing after getting beat around a little bit his first outing. Not a problem whatsoever. And Diekman today, too, looking at his arsenal, 4-seam fastball, sweeper, changeup, 4-seam, topped around 93, sweeper topped around 84, and the changeup topped around 85, sat around 85, because he only threw it once. So there you go. Diekman with a scoreless inning. Jorge Lopez, a man that's looking to compete and be potentially a high leverage option for the Mets in this bullpen, had it down 2023, but had an all-star 2022 in Baltimore. And Lopez has the flamethrowing stuff. He touched 96 today on the 4-seam fastball. Sink, same thing, right around 96, and the slide piece at 87, like what I saw there. And then we got on to Shintaro Fujinami. For those that know, I have been a Shintaro Fujinami lover, appreciator for over a year now. I actually had some schmuck the other day, figured it was a Yankees fan. Not to offend the Yankees fans that follow me, but the ones that don't. The schmuck the other day tweeted saying, yeah, I bet you didn't know about Fujinami prior to this month or this year. I'm like, you sure about that, bud? I'm pretty sure I did a video on hoping that the Mets would land him 2 off seasons ago when the Mets first scouted him before he signed with the Oakland A's. I know a little bit about Shintaro Fujinami. The guy's electric. He is so good when it comes to his pure stuff, pure talent and arsenal. It's just about putting it together. He's so wily. That's a big thing with him. But the stuff is there. It's stuff plus. It is that good. And Shintaro Fujinami today just comfortably, casually, in his first spring outing after coming back from all the visa issues, 1, 2, 3, 10 pitch, perfect inning, and he didn't even throw his flame-throwing 100 to 103 mile per hour fastball one time. Why need to when you can easily get guys out the other way, right? Looking at Shintaro's arsenal today, headlined by the splitter, which, he comfortably throws 95, 96 miles per hour as we saw today. Cutter, 85, sweeper, 84. He literally only threw the cutter and the sweeper once. It's just so funny to me. I know it's early on. I know it's spring. I know it's against the Nationals, but it's a nice start, in my opinion, for Shintaro Fujinami, a guy that I have probably too high expectations for a guy that had a 7+ ERA this past season. But when you understand why he had the ERA and you understand him as the pitcher, the potential's all there with him. And I'm going to continue to juice this guy up until he either completely falters or he proves me right that he can become a guy that I think can be a true mainstay in this bullpen as either an elite setup man, or as Germany Hefner even said himself in a recent article, believe it was through Newsday or The Athletic. So it's either Tim Healy or Will Salmon, one of the two. I apologize as I'm blanking as to which one it exactly is. There's been a lot of awesome reads, by the way, from both of them respectively. Please make sure to check them out. Support your Mets beat writers. They do a tremendous job. They are the exact thing what I'm doing, but 10 times better because they're getting consistent access with the players, with the coaches, and it's in writing. That's the only difference. Please make sure to check out their pieces. They do a fantastic job. But Jeremy Heffer said it himself. This guy has all-star closer potential, is abundantly clear. It's right there. It's all about getting that command down, which we know, and just utilizing that beautiful 3, 4, 5 pitch mix. And right now, I'm beyond excited to see what Shintaro will do for the remainder of spring heading into the regular season. This is a guy that many believe, okay, maybe he'll flop, maybe he won't find his command, and he'll have a lack of consistency, okay. But even if Shintaro Fujinami pitches to, say, a 3.5 north of 4 ERA this season for the Mets, even if it's a 4 ERA, it really doesn't matter all that much if you're looking at how that ERA happened, what are the expected numbers, how did he get his outs. Like, those are the things I really care about. So it's going to be a fascinating one to follow on someone like him because, again, you have some fans that are like, I have no clue who this guy is. I just looked at his baseline ERA and he's a bum. Then you have others like me who have known about him for a year and a half now, know how disgusting his arsenal is. It's just about putting it together. So I'm very excited to see what the future of Fujinami is with the Mets this season, but really solid start to his spring outings. We saw there then Josh Walker again with a scoreless inning with 2 strikeouts. He looked good today. Really, actually, something about Josh Walker today stuck out to me too. It is, especially lefty on lefty, he can be very deceptive with his arsenal. He's got the four seam, the curveball, and the changeup. He's got some nice pitches too. Then we see Grant Hartwig, that I know Grant Hartwig, you guys are kind of, I don't like. Hartwig, I'm in the middle on. He's a guy I can definitely see being impactful for the Mets this year in their bullpen, but someone that hopefully they don't need to rely upon too much, where again, he's a guy that they can call upon in certain situations because either injuries inevitably happen, guys are down, whatever it may be. But again, shout out as always to all these guys for doing a great job today. I don't care if it's against the Nationals. Hey, if I see zeros, if I see donuts in the right direction, meaning that it's because we got a bunch of outs, I'm happy about that. I just don't like it when you look at the offensive numbers, which was also today, where it's a bunch of donuts for the bats because they had a little to provide. But hey, it's spring training. It doesn't matter too much. But you know what does matter, guys? What does matter is our amazing sponsor on the channel that you all know very well that we just discussed.
BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook and casino. Live betting and racebook. We're celebrating 30 years with a historic offer. A 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits. Plus 10% gambler's insurance. Get started today. BetUS, where the game begins.
Apologies if I scared any of you guys with the commercial. Also apologies because when I go back to my original slide, the intro for the stream is going to run for 2 seconds. So apologies in advance for that too, guys. Don't mean to freak anyone out. But speaking of BetUS for a second, guys, you all know how amazing of a sponsor they've been. And literally the show started with them hooking us up and letting us have an awesome spring training experience where we just get to make awesome content and have fun with it. You know, it doesn't get much better than that. And BetUS, who have been phenomenal with all their betting lines, whatever you're betting on, whether it's NHL in season action, NBA in season action, like I'm about to show you guys, we have a big matchup tonight here at 10 p.m. Celtics at the Denver Nuggets, potentially this year's upcoming championship winner, even though I hope it doesn't happen, versus the Denver Nuggets, who won it all last year. They're in Denver. Boston has not been the same team on the road as they have been at home. In Boston, it's almost a sure guarantee. On the road, you know you have solid odds. And here the Nuggets are still the underdog at plus 110. And I know it's a tough task to go against a top dog like the Boston Celtics, but I'm going to do it. Why not? Because let's have some fun with it. That's why. And again, guys, please make sure you're being responsible when you do your sports betting too. I do not recommend anyone to bet, obviously, if you don't trust yourself and your self-control. So be wary. But again, get in on the action today because we're going to be doing a lot of awesome WardyNYM unique parlays throughout the regular season for the Amazons. So let's put down 30 here to win 33 on this bet for the Nuggets. Let's place that bad boy in, and we are all good to go. And again, it's that simple, guys. I cannot thank enough to BetUS for their amazing support, and you guys can click the link in the description. That way you too get a 125% boost. So not your first, your second, but your third, your 3 deposits. That means you could deposit $100, you automatically get $225 to work with 3 times. That's simple, easy money. Again, get in on all your sports betting action today, and shout out once more to BetUS as always for being an amazing sponsor on the channel, and apologies in advance, again, for the intro that's going to run for a solid 2 seconds. So let's get that in. Apologies there. Honestly, I did it pretty quick on the transition. I'm kind of proud of that. Saying a Fujinami fan here, first time watching live. Love your content. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, my friend. Let me see. Satoka, if I'm pronouncing that wrong, I apologize, but thank you for being here. Fuji did not hit 100 today. No, because he didn't throw the 4-seam once. That was the beautiful thing. He didn't need to. That was so awesome about it. Hey, Wardy, I'm glad to catch you live finally, but got to leave. Just want to say we're lucky to have you cover the Mets. I've been watching you since 2022, so keep up the good work. Thank you so much, fellow Tyler. Greatly appreciate that. Appreciate you chiming in. I hope you have a fantastic evening, my friend. Let's see. Let's get me Montgomery and Martinez, and then we'll be cooking with gas. I don't think it's going to happen. If one of them happens, I'll even be a little surprised by that at this rate. But overall, look, I understand I'm in favor of Monty. I'm in favor of JD. But naturally, as a Mets fan that is not trying to get his hopes up, I'm not going to get my hopes up. You shouldn't either. If either of those things happen, we can view that as a pleasant surprise at this point, I think is fair to say. Oh, I want Monty, PA. Trust me, I want Monty. Daniel, you do a great job by chiming in, brother. Thank you for being in here. Let's see. I love Francisco Alvarez so much. He's been tremendous. He's been so good to watch. Alvy, I can't say enough good things about it, as I mentioned, because we saw him break out the way he did last season, right? For him to have 25 bombs in his rookie year when he didn't even start the season with the Mets. He didn't even begin the year with them. It took multiple weeks for them to call him up still. Craziness to see the type of immediate impact he had on the Mets last year. Now you see him pimp that thing like the absolute dog that he is. You'll love to see it. Again, I don't care that it's spring. When it comes to Alvarez drilling out 3 guys, what do I care about? It's him showing clear progress in his defense and his pop time. That's something that I worked on. He literally spoke either to Steve Gelbs or in a recent mid-game interview that he did is begin spring training and spoke more on that. I'm sure he even spoke about it a little bit with Foul Territory. He was just on there the other day when they did their Mets roundtable of all the Mets players coming in while they were at PSL. Speaking of the Mets, again, we'll see what happens, but if we luck out and we're able to get any of those amazing Mets in quick interviews, either bring them to the house or hang out with them at the facility, that'll be great too. So be on the lookout. Again, we're going to be trying our best to have a lot of unique content that's both MLB and Mets related. Mets will do our post games there. We probably won't cover every game while we're there, but I'm of course going to cover the bulk. We're going to do some unique individual videos. We're going to do the player preview and projections. Hope you guys have been liking that too. I would greatly appreciate your feedback, guys. Everyone watching live on a replay. If you've watched the player preview and projection videos so far, we did our first one on Brett Beatty and Mark Vientos. Our second was on Brandon Nimmo and Harrison Bader. And our third is going to be, I don't know yet. It's going to be posted tomorrow, but I've yet to decide as to who the players are going to be. I have a feeling I know who it's going to be now that I'm thinking about it. But regardless, be on the lookout as those will be coming out likely tomorrow. And again, on every other day basis or so for the remainder of spring. But I hope you guys have been enjoying those, trying to get as much out as possible for you guys. Something that I haven't done in recent years, more so because I've been concerned about doing the podcast in the past. But now that that isn't currently happening, I have more time to at least do these player profile and projections for you. So having a lot of fun with them, and I hope you guys have been enjoying them. There's a lot more is going to be rolling out for sure. What's up, CP? How you doing, brother? Hope you were doing well. Let's see here. What's up, Stony? Hope all is doing fantastic. Looking forward to seeing another outing from Fuji. Here's another thing about Fuji. I know you guys are Jekyll and Hyde and how you feel about the nicknames. You love them or hate them. I'm neutral either way. I don't really care. Mount Fuji. Where do we stand on Mount Fuji? I forgot who it was on Twitter. They know who they are, though, that first mentioned it to me. Should we just start calling it Mount Fuji now? I feel like that's a possibility. Is that the nickname to go? I'll leave it up to you, watching live on a replay. You know, you guys can make that decision for me. But as we're getting closer to concluding the show, I do want to take a couple minutes to also explain and really get into the overall viewpoint and outlook on spring training, especially if you're watching this for the first time. So, as many of you know, I cover obviously the majority of games for the Mets throughout spring, the regular season. We come out with individual video content, collaboration content pretty much every single week, or for the most part. May vary depending on how hectic our schedules are. We're going to have new shows and segments that you guys have never seen before on the channel unveiled this year. That won't be coming out until the end of the month once we get closer into the season. So no need to start those now in spring when it's always fun to kind of get the hype going around the regular season, right? But I do want to make note that when I evaluate spring training, it has changed, especially from when I first started covering the Mets. And if you guys have been following me for either 2-3 years and you have seen the change and the growth in my not only content, but also in my viewpoint on things. When I was a younger fan, I took a lot more to heart with spring training results. Even last year, I took to more heart spring training results. And I took a lot of time to reflect and realize you shouldn't be buying into these numbers at all, one. And two, what is always going to matter most is what you really think should matter. And that is, again, position battles, guys competing for a rotation, bullpen battles, who's going to crack the last bullpen spot? That's a great question. Sean Reed-Foley might be leading the way in that regard, whether you like it or not. So, again, a lot of bullpen options for the Mets there. And then, of course, the young guys, whether it's Beatty, Vientos, so, again, both of them were underwhelming today. Beatty had his bunt hit and looked fine defensively. Vientos was swinging for the fences and swinging and hitting nothing. But then you also have top prospects. As we know, March 15th, it was officially announced today, the Mets will have their inaugural Mets prospect spring training games. They're going to have basically all their top prospects play against each other, which is absolutely sick. The official roster was unveiled today. Highly implore you all to check it out too. But those are the things you look forward to most, especially in spring training. given the current status of the club. If I sat here and really yapped or really complained about, like, we got schmucks out here already complaining about Lindor on having an underwhelming spring. Lindor could have 2 more hits for the entirety of spring, and I could not give a rat's ass. You want to know why? I'm going to go on a limb and say that I have faith and a $300+ million shortstop that has been absolutely killing it for the Mets since pretty much he's arrived, excluding his first couple months, because to some Mets fans, that's the end-all be-all still, because they're still stuck in 2021, which is beyond me. Point is, veterans, guys that you know are going to turn out well every single season, you're not going to take to heart what they're doing in spring. You shouldn't, at least. But for guys that, again, are competing and experience, that's where there's a big argument. That's where you can have a great discussions, because this is what matters. This is what you're looking for. Now, unless you have a guy that was established and completely falls off a cliff, whether that be, I know he had a lot of struggles last year. It's a continuation of it. Alek Manoah, Carlos Rodon, of course, has yet to really prove himself and showcase that, he can be better than what he was last year. Aside from those situations, for the most part, I feel like the average fan understands kind of like do's and don'ts of their proper evaluation. Do whatever you want, do whatever is comfortable for you, but just for the sake of maybe not getting upset and worked up about the Mets this early in the year, I highly implore you to not do that, because you're going to have great opportunities to do that throughout the 162, unfortunately. I mean, the reality is that this is a current team on paper that's pushing for playoffs. Playoffs are anything but a sure guarantee, and a lot of things are going to change throughout this hectic season. So buckle up, get ready for the ride. It's going to be a roller coaster, but there's no need to stress yourself out this soon. That is what I will leave you with. And with that being said, guys, thank you all so much for watching live on a replay. This is your boy Wardy with our latest post game here, breaking down the Amazons taking down the Nats today by a final score of 3-1. It's headlined by performances of Jose Quintana with his first scoreless outing this spring. I had the privilege of meeting Jose Quintana, funny enough, in a first watch breakfast place last spring training, the same day that the Mets officially announced that he was out for like the first half of the season, basically, which was just hilarious. I tweeted it. I mean, it couldn't have been worse timing on that front. But regardless, happy to see Quintana do well today. Alvy throwing out 3-2 with an absolute bomb. Nimmo with the 2 hits today. All the pen arms look sharp, including Fujinami. Lindor, again, that 1 run came in even though he didn't have a hit today, and that is where I'll leave things. So, again, thank you guys so much. Stay tuned for consistent coverage on all things Mets offseason long. Your boy will be landing at PSL Saturday. So if you're wondering if, say, there's a day or two with not as much content, that's because we're getting all prepped and ready for what's going to be a boatload of content unrolling, not only during the trip, but also potentially videos that we won't even be posting until after the trip because there's too much. So stay tuned. Myself, Jim at Ballcap Sports, Robbie Hyde Baseball, baby, Giraffe Neck Mark, Mike from Stark Raven Sports. Lock in. We're going to have an absolute blast. I hope